But it's also a mindset game, right? Because if you're not, obviously the commitment starts, with you telling yourself, just like how ICE says it all the time, right? And if you be committed to the gym, it's all about your self talk, right? When you get up in the morning, like, do you want to turn off your alarm? Do you want to snooze it? Right? It's the same thing with budgeting, right? Cool, I got paid $500. Do I want to go on vacation this weekend, or should I put it away, right? Or should I pay off my bills first? So it's all about your mindset and your self talk and how committed and disciplined you are.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode on Inside the PAC, brought to you by Pasifikaveco Company, and always with me every episode, except for the live one in person, we have Miss Kaleo Hettle in the building. What's up?
Oh, really? That was a wrong statement. Not every episode, just the ones where I get to be here and not in person.
Not in person, but it's all good.
I don't have a grudge on it. It's fine. We're fine. It's fine, fam. We're good.
Hey, once they create that, teleportation, then it'll be easy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's going to happen in my lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get this started. Let me get, all these formalities out of the way. Like I said earlier, this episode is brought to you by Pasifikaveco Company, and that is that brand that is owned by me and actually co-owned with Kaleo over here. So if you guys don't know about PAC, it is a brand and movement fostering unity within the diverse cultures of Polynesia, Melanesia, and Micronesia, celebrating our collective shared heritage and promoting our connection, while educating the global community about our rich and diverse cultures. And you know what's cool about that? We had FestPAC going on right now, and that's exactly what, FestPAC is about, uniting every single island. So I don't know if you saw the videos all over social media, but every island had like their own introduction. They did a performance. Like, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I did.
It was super fun. I was talking to my moms, and my auntie, she's like a big advocate for that message and our brand. That my mom was telling me that she was going out to everybody bragging like, "Oh, that's my nephew's company. They do that message, watch. He should have been here. FestPAC, da da da." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, auntie, thank you for the marketing. Appreciate it."
Hey, word of mouth. It's real good,
Yeah, for sure. On that note, let's move on. And as you guys know, actually, you guys probably didn't know, but usually we have a guest. But this is the first time that we got four one time. That's crazy. But they are all one family. And, we're all one family. We're all one Pacifica family. But as I bring them in, I'm going to do a small little introduction to each and every one of them. And let me pull that up. I have it here. But as I bring them in, you're going to see all six of us in here. But damn, I feel like I forgot something before I bring them in.
There's gonna be a lot of hotness on one screen. I'm just saying.
I feel like I'm missing something before I bring them in. I totally forgot. Anyways, oh, you know what? Yes, this is episode 43. Did I say that? No, I didn't. I did not say that because I didn't reference Polomalu. Episode 43 for Troy Polomalu. Please come on the podcast. Love you. Thank you. All right, let's bring on the guests. Boom! Look at this. Beautiful people. So, introducing our guests first, we have Mr. Damian Vaitautolu. He's an Army recruiter hailing all the way from the beautiful island of American Samoa. And next we have Mr. Reka Silafau, an Equal Employment Opportunity Investigator. And he's based out of Medford, Oregon. And we have Savannah Sanitoa, a financial professional all the way from American Samoa. And then, last but not least, we have Miss Reka Silafau, a talented accountant, also from Medford, Oregon. Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. Say something.
They're so quiet. They're so quiet. They're like,
Thanks for having us, guys.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, everyone.
What's going on,
Wasn't
people?
sure what the cue was. My bad.
the introduction is the cue.
Yes. The introduction.
So is that me now? Okay, cool. Just a short little introduction. My name is Damian Vaitautolu. From American Samoa. I'm in the Army. I've been in the Army for about 18 years. Got 2 more years till I retire. Can't wait. But I transitioned into another career field in the financial industry. And that's what I want to take full time as soon as I get out the Army, because I want to help more people be financially literate. All right. So that's a little bit about me. Savannah, I think it's your turn. Thanks, Starr, for that little short introduction that you did earlier.
Thank you for the introduction, Starr and Kaleo. Appreciate it. My name is Savannah Sanitoa, and yes, I am from American Samoa. Currently live here in Oregon. I do have a military background as well, but I did get out to go and get a regular job, finish up my degree, but then decided to go full time into this business. I got told I was capped at my current salary that I was at when I was at my old job, and so I've been doing financial services for full time now for about 1.5 years. I was doing it a little longer than that part time. And so I'm super excited to be able to come on here and also share financial literacy, because I know that a lot of our people need it. So I'll go ahead and pass it to Reka's on my screen. So I'll go ahead and pass it to her before Ice comes up.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Reka Silafau, and I have lived in American Samoa, graduated high school out there, came back out to Oregon, and decided that accounting, I love numbers, and so decided accounting was the field for me. However, circumstances that happened in my life with my dad and retirement changed the course. So we have a saying, we don't panic, we pivot. And it was in that moment that everything changed, meeting my brother on here, Damian Vaitautolu, and he introduced us to a business that would change the trajectory of where my family is headed. And we'll talk more about that, but love what we do. Couldn't be happier to be here on Inside the PAC, and super grateful for this opportunity. Take it away, Ice.
What's up, everybody? My name's Isaac Silafau. Thanks, Starr and Kaleo, for having us on here tonight. As Starr mentioned, I am an equal opportunity workplace investigator, but I take pride in being a licensed financial professional, licensed in multiple states. In the past, though, I did the whole college route, the college football, did all of that. Then I transitioned into the fitness industry. I was a personal trainer for 7 years. That's where I actually learned and, got my start in communication, people skills, leadership, and coaching skills. I used to help people, achieve their fitness goals through proper preparation, customized design plans to reach those goals. And one of my favorite passions was seeing people, the transformation in people's bodies. Like it was just crazy. And so with that, the same concepts that I learned in the fitness industry, I see they carry over, and they relate so much to the financial industry. And so my vision in the future is to take those skills and help as many people as I can become more financially literate, to achieve financial independence, and so that they can thrive and live their best lives. And so again, thank you for having us here. I think within the next hour or so, I think you guys will learn a bunch of concepts that we hope that you guys take and hone in and and use. So thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys introductions. That was a lot better than my introduction. I apologize if I what is that called, mispronounce anything, because I was reading off a script. So just putting it out there. I'm not the best reader.
Great job, bro.
But Kaleo, tell us what we're gonna get into next, just to, break the nerves down just a little bit.
Break the nerves down. I mean, I think we've broken down the nerves already. I mean,
we did.
But hey, we like to do question roulette. So I'll ask you a bunch of different questions. They're completely just off the wall. You guys are gonna all answer them. It's kind of like a this or that type thing. Okay. And yes, I will judge you. So, okay, ready? All right. Okay, so what movie? Pitch Perfect or Stomp the Yard? Wow, okay.
I want to go first. Stomp the Yard all day long.
Stomp the Yard? Okay, all right.
Stomp the Yard.
Okay.
Stomp the Yard.
Okay.
Stomp the Yard all the way. That one elbow move that he does, you can't beat that.
Okay. I'm a singer, so I totally do Pitch Perfect. So, is it soda or pop?
Soda.
Soda.
Pop.
Really, Rex?
Really?
Wow. I thought pop was like a Midwest/Northeast thing, but soda for sure. I never heard my sister say, "Hey, can you go get me some pop?" I've never heard her say that before, so it's hard for me to believe. But hey,
I don't think I've ever really heard anybody ever like this side be like,
I think she
go get
just
me a
wanted to
pop.
be different.
I wanted to.
Right?
Starr, what about you? Soda or pop?
This question's not for me.
I don't care. I asked you. I'm judging.
It's soda.
Okay. Just making sure.
Soda
Have a
kind.
beautiful kitchen or an oasis backyard?
Oasis
Kitchen.
backyard.
Okay.
Okay, Damian Chef.
You
I would say
man?
kitchen.
I would say kitchen because that's where everyone, migrates to when when they're all hungry.
Oh man.
And there's nothing like homemade cooking in a kitchen. The backyard, yeah, I don't know.
Wait, quick side
Yep.
question. What time do you migrate to the kitchen? Because I migrate like midnight.
Wow.
Okay. Growing up, it was midnight. But I'm in bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and so it's usually probably about.
God, you act older than me.
Uh,
Who goes to bed at 8 o'clock? No, I'm just
I would say
What are you, a child?
My grandpa.
I would say like 5:36.
damn, that's an early dinner. I'm not gonna lie.
You were early dinner. My God. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
getting home around 5:30 or 6.
Yeah. Well, so to be fair though, it's because I work out at 5 a.m, so I gotta be up early, so I go to bed early.
Oh, though when I had those, okay, I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right. So, be the best dancer or best singer?
Well, we know the answer. They all said stomp the yard.
Doesn't mean
Be the best singer.
Oh, never mind.
dancer. It's a good workout.
It really is. Hey, boys. Dancers, singers.
Man, they think
Well,
you're
okay.
odd.
Well, I would say best dancer because if you have a mediocre voice and you're the best dancer, you can't beat that.
That's me, bro. That's me.
I knew it. I read your bio.
I think singer. You can bring everyone together by singing.
Man.
You can bring
Hey,
everybody
man.
together by dancing. Just draw on the electric
Not
slide.
everyone can. Yeah, what if they sprain an ankle?
Spring.
Well, yeah, what
Yes.
if they sprain an ankle and roll their, fall and trip and never get up again?
Oh, okay.
You
I'd-
can sing laying down.
Okay, never eat fish again or chicken?
Never. So we have to pick one.
Never.
not to-
Never eat fish or never eat chicken. Which one?
Never eat chicken.
Never eat fish.
Wow. Wow.
Never eat fish.
Wow.
I would say never eat fish as well because there's so many combinations of things you can do with chicken.
Yeah, we want to hear you.
But you can
Star.
run out of chicken faster than you can run out of fish.
You can grow.
Well, that wasn't part of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was a part of the question, Star.
But you got to think of it, like logically,
No, because anytime I think of these logically, you come at me for it.
Well, it's your answer.
Okay, so my answer?
Yeah.
Fish.
Wow. I'm the only one that would give up chicken.
No, I said
Oh,
chicken.
yeah, you said chicken. Oh, we're on the same page.
All right,
Yeah,
Thor
go
or
for it.
Black Panther?
Ooh, Thor.
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Are we talking about the movie?
The character.
Can you tell who's the technical one?
Yeah, you got to. I say Thor.
I do too. Okay.
3-3.
Yeah.
Star's like, I'm not answering.
I
All right,
did.
IHOP or
did
Denny's?
this.
You didn't?
I wasn't looking.
You didn't know?
IHOP or Denny's?
I'm-
I wasn't looking at you doing the action, okay? Ow, that hurt.
All right, next question.
IHOP or Denny's?
Ooh.
This better be the correct answer.
They're both
IHOP.
trash.
IHOP.
cannot believe
Okay,
it.
I'll choose IHOP.
I won't.
Moon's over my hammy all day, baby. Let's go,
Hey!
Denny's.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go.
I also say Denny's.
3 for 3.
Dude, so many times where I went there super late at night. Anyways, moving
I,
on.
Right.
you know what I
Strongest
based.
or fastest person?
Okay.
Nah.
What?
The strongest or fastest person?
Fastest.
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 Strongest. Strongest.
Gotta be.
So we
If
just
you're in a
don't-
firefight,
you
you can't outrun a bullet. I'm just saying.
If you're the
Yeah, you
fastest,
can.
you can.
You can.
No, you're not. So
Oh, look
yeah,
at
yeah,
him. What's his name?
Have you
Keanu.
Vanna, have you seen the movie IP Man or Ip Man or
Ip
whatever
Man.
you want to call it?
Ip Man.
it wasn't part of the question. So.
Have
Have
you
you,
Clearly
you
seen-
haven't seen you clearly haven't seen how fast that dude is.
Bro.
Like he yo.
Bro, even the Matrix, he dodged the bullet. So,
That's right.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Okay, get a spanking with a slipper or a broomstick?
Slipper.
Slipper.
unless it's a freaking Scotch slipper, the really thick one.
Oh,
Well, she didn't specify, so I'll
You're
still
right,
go
I
with
did
it.
not. It was
It
not
could be
very
my little sister
specific.
slipper. You never know, right? So, right?
I'll go with that cheap dollar store broomstick
couldn't break
that's
one hit.
plastic. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Okay, all you can eat crab or shrimp? Yes, I'm judging on this one.
Shrimp.
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 Crab.
Sorry.
Oh, crab.
Sorry. I'm judging.
Me?
Yeah, I'm asking.
I didn't have enough time to think.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I don't know. If the if the crab meat's already out, the crab. If it's still in the the shell, I'm going for the shrimp.
But what if the shrimp is also in their shell?
It's easier to open than the crab shell.
Facts.
Non-deveined.
Non-deveined.
You gotta do the whole kit and caboodle. Okay, now I'm getting too long.
No, honestly, I'd probably end up just choosing the crab anyway. Actually, I love shrimp, but I think I love crab just a little bit more.
Do love me some crab, but I will eat shrimp all day, every day.
Mm.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Anyways,
So good.
moving on. Those are all my questions that are random, and it took us entirely too long to answer them. So
It took like 10 minutes. That's all good. But very interesting. If you guys are watching, listening, you guys want to answer, go ahead and answer them in the comments below, like you guys ever do. But do if you guys want to.
he just called you out, fam. You hear that? That's crazy.
I'm calling you out, Mom. You watch every episode. I don't see your answers in any comments.
Yeah, Mom, I want your answers.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah, what Damian said. All right, so let's we got the fun part out. Let's dive deep into why we brought these beautiful people here on the podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are all a part of the Global Financial Impact. Okay.
Yes.
So that brings me to the first question. What is, in a quick version, what is Global Financial Impact? Anybody can answer.
Global Financial Impact is pretty much a platform that connects individuals and organizations with the resources and expertise to unlock their financial potential, not just for themselves, but to drive positive change in their lives, and then now spread it to everyone else so that we can empower them with financial literacy.
Cool. Anybody else want to elaborate more on, adding onto that?
The mission behind Global Financial Impact is to help families to dream again. In this country, this is the land of opportunity, yet there are a lot of people still in this country that have stopped dreaming. When's the last time when you were in like grade school, that someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And someone said, I can't wait to do a 9-to-5 job, work till I'm 65, and then retire. Like, that is not the dream. And so that's the goal and the mission behind Global Financial Impact, is that we want to make an impact by helping families to realize you may have stopped dreaming. We're going to help you get to where you can dream again.
That was really well put together. Not that Damian, yours wasn't good, but I'm just saying that was pretty.
Yeah, good already.
We also believe in that everyone, regardless of their background and experience, they deserve an opportunity to live enriched and a fulfilling life, right? By joining forces in our agency or become part of a very dynamic community dedicated to helping families, just like what Reka was saying, and just to secure their financial future, right? And achieve their dreams just by creating a long-lasting legacy, right? So there's a lot of things that GFI can provide, but ultimately we start changing ours first and then start helping everyone else. Right. So, but yeah, Reka said it all.
No, that definitely makes sense. There's a lot of things with finances in general that a lot of people don't understand. And Kaleo, you can attest to me not understanding a lot about finances because I have a lot of questions, and she is my finance guru in this business of ours. So, so I think I fall into that category of the non-educated, at least in that field, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of opportunity to learn about finances, right? I know I'm kind of going off script a little bit, but like if I had learned this in high school or even at touched upon it in middle school, then I'd probably be in a better place. You know what I'm saying? So
That's because they stopped teaching that. They stopped teaching it. Period. And again, off script, it's a kind of like a form of controlling the way society goes. And if the more educated you are on how your finances go and how you can do things and how you can get to where you need to go, the more they can control the populace. So the more we're educated on how we can maneuver through things financially and whatever else it is, the less control people have, right?
Right.
So the more we have individuals like we have here that are willing to spread that information, the better off we're going to be, especially if people are willing to take that leap to be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help.
Right.
But they took that
And we
from
were
us.
all there at one point, right? All of us on
Oh, yeah.
this call, and Savannah, Reka, and Isaac can all attest it as well. To myself as well, to include that I wasn't educated about money, right? Until sometimes if you don't go seek the opportunities, and an opportunity is going to seek you, and that's one of the how I got into the business, because someone else approached me with the business, and even to this day, I praise her for reaching out and giving me a shot and teaching me about financial literacy. Because if she didn't, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without her, right? Isaac and Reka wouldn't be where they at today if I didn't introduce them to the business. And ultimately, we just got to help each other out, right? So, yeah.
That's what it's all about, So next question. I know you guys already, kind of said it in each of your guys' introductions and a little bit, but why did you guys really make that decision to get started in this journey, at least in the financial world, and then with global finance? Let me go with Savannah. I want to hear your answer for this one.
Well, thank you for the question. So I mainly got started because I had been in a job when I got out of the military. I went to go finish my degree, and I got into what I thought was a good job at the airport. I had been there for almost 6 years, made my way all the way up to assistant general manager, and then I got told I was capped at my pay, right? And so from there, I had already been doing the financial services part-time, super part-time. I was just referring people over to Damian so that he could take care of their financial plans. But then it was then when I got told that I was capped that I realized I'm worth more and I could do this financial business 100%. I got told it was a quote. It was like they had asked one of my mentors asked me, why are you so busy building somebody else's business instead of busy building yours, right? And so I took that leap, and I didn't want to leave that current job just to go into another job and start all over again. And I know people do that all over the place right now, and more power to you. But for me, I was, I'm not getting any younger. I wanted to be able to take that leap and see where it takes me, see what entrepreneurship is, and how the financial industry can help me and my family become financially independent.
Cool. I'm gonna pass it on to Reka.
So my dad retired a couple of years ago, and being that I'm in the accounting background, is something about Polynesians where, like a sign of respect, we don't go into our parents' business unless they ask us to. Well, the time came where it was, my dad was like, I need your help. I'm not sure what I have, so on and so forth. Long story short, my dad was going to run out of money after being in retirement for only 2 years, maybe even less than that. And so it was like a punch in the gut, because I was like, how did I not know? How did I not put 2 and 2 together this whole time? What am I going to do? And thankfully, God opened up an avenue to where that same day that I realized all this was happening, I was like, I'm either going to have to work 2-3 jobs to make sure that my dad is set, or I need to win the lottery or something. And sure enough, I went on social media, and Damian just so happened. He posts all the time, but it's like one of those things where it doesn't hit you until something significant happens. And just then and there, he posted something at the right time. And I was like, and it had to do with finances and retirement. And I was like, called him. I messaged him first, called him, and I said, I know you probably get people that come all the time and ask you that they want to join. I'm telling you, whatever it takes, because I'm in a position right now where I want to help my dad, and I this is what I need. And Damian's like, okay, sure. He didn't know how serious. I was like, no, I'm telling you right now, I will be one of your strongest players. You won't regret it. And since then, I haven't left and have been on the crusade. And now we have Vanna and Ice on. And through that, it has expanded. And the one thing that I will say that I didn't get to mention about GFI is that we believe in the 5 F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. If you're just getting 1% better at that every day in those categories, imagine what you look like 100 days from then. Like 1% better, you'll be at 100%. And so that was where we decided, okay, if we're going to do this, let's go all in. Like, we need to make an impact because, you know, time is of the essence, and you might be around, but your loved ones might not. Like, my dad may not be here next year. What am I going to do today to make a difference for him?
Yeah. Before I move on to Ice, or before what do you call it? Kaleo asked the next question. Ice, I'm gonna go with you on your answer for this one.
Oh, as to why?
Yes.
As to why I got started. Long story short, same as my sister. So my sister was in the business, and shortly after she started in the business, you know, it was one of those things where she had contacted me because she obviously wanted to share this information, share the knowledge that she had gained through Damian. And when she initially contacted me, I was just like, ugh, it's one of those little multi-level marketing pyramid scheme things that like Melaleuca that she, you know, they always used to like hit me up on, right? And so one night she hit me up. She's like, "Come on, bro, please just do this." And so I get on the computer, I get on Zoom, and I meet this Samoan dude. His name is Damian. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what this guy has to say to me. And when he I'm telling you, when he sat down and explained everything that we needed to know, it like something like clicks in your head. And you know, growing up, like, as you can tell, my sister explained, we didn't grow up around money. We didn't grow up around anything. You know, paycheck to paycheck. Both parents working multiple jobs. And so I think for me, my goal out of high school, I'm like a lot of Polynesian, you know, boys, you want to go to the NFL. And that route ended up not happening. And so, you know, did what a lot of guys who don't make it to the league do and got a job. And so that's when I went to the fitness industry. And so fast forward when I met Damian and he was explaining to me everything like surrounding the financial industry, everything clicked to me because a lot my passion is fitness, and fitness and finance, they correlate and they tie in so well together. And it's just like, and so now my goal kind of shifted from like, it's not that I like completely leaving the fitness industry, but the finance, I really wanted to gain more knowledge and literacy in the financial world. And also the financial industry is the most lucrative industry out there. I mean, you can look it up. The financial industry has created the most millionaires, hands down. So, you know, it's lucrative. You could teach it to your family. You could teach it to your friends. It's very important. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but money makes the world go round. And so it's like, if you could teach people the importance of money management and they apply it, oh man, it could do wonders. And so, sorry, that was a long vent, but that's why.
Well, I mean, that's really good because that like literally slides into the whole next thing of like, what are some of the common knowledge that people should understand about their finances? Because like I common knowledge, because we all know what we necessarily might know is not necessarily common nowadays.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll start off with that. So some common knowledge, I mean, around finances, you know, I mean, just the basics. You gotta make money, you gotta earn income. right? And there's three types of incomes, right? There's earned or active income, which you make through your job. You have to physically do it in order to make money. You have passive income where you can make money through like real estate, rental properties. A lot of singers, rappers, whatever, they make money off of royalties. And then you also have portfolio income, which is like stocks, investments, crypto, all that stuff. And so when it comes to income itself and making money, though, you have to understand the ways to make money. And so those are the three ways. And then once you make the money, it's important to know how to organize your money that you make through budgeting. And that is what I think is very, very, very key when it comes to the finances, because this is where everyone slips and this is where everyone messes up, and this is why, like I said, it ties in with the fitness industry, because in fitness, right, it's 80% what you do outside of the gym, 20% what you do in the gym. Finances is 80% behavior, 20% knowledge. So if you can make all this money, make as much money as you can, but you're not saving it or investing it, and all you're doing is just spending it away on liabilities, then it's just like I said, you're in the gym. Your whole entire workout was wasted because you went and ate shrimp, all you can eat shrimp, Denny's, IHOP. But yeah, no. So those are just some common knowledge, but I'll give it to someone else to explain the three rules of money.
Oh yeah. Before someone else adds on, I think that's very spot on what you said about your everyday person. They may know that they should budget, but do they know how to? Right? Do they fully understand budgeting itself? You know what I mean? Some might just be like, oh, yeah, I know how to budget. Yeah, I'll just set this for that for that, that for that. But you know what I mean? Like it's way too simple when it's something as simple as budgeting is super complicated at the same time, right?
I feel like most people don't really understand what genuine budgeting is because they're just like, oh, well, it's just sectional. Yeah. I just got to make sure I have money for this and money for this and money for this, and then I'm good. Yeah. Whereas budgeting is way more than that because it's not just a current situational thing. It's a longevity thing.
Yeah, it could be anything, right? Anything that has to do with finances. If you don't have discipline, you're always going to be broke. You can budget all you want, but if you don't have the discipline to budget, you're never going to budget. Let's just be honest.
And stay with it.
And stick with it. You're never, that's just like when someone says, oh, I'm motivated to go to the gym. But if you don't have the discipline to motivate yourself to stay disciplined or stay motivated to go to the gym, then you will never have the discipline to stay motivated or the will to budget. So if you don't have discipline in anything that you do in life, you'll never succeed in anything, to include finance.
Which is why, sorry to bring this up, but which is why I don't believe anybody's New Year's resolution anymore. I don't ever. Every time I see it, I'm like,
hey, but that's why you have people like us, right? Because just like the gym, if you don't know where to start or what to do, you get what? You get a personal trainer and they'll show you the ropes. They'll customize plans for you. We are the financial personal trainers. And if you don't know where to start, call someone that knows what they're doing so that they can help you get to your goal or whatever. And yeah, you're right. New Year's resolutions, 90% of them fail. Come February or March, the gyms are like ghost. Yeah. Crazy. So are our bank accounts.
So, Van, it seemed like you wanted to add something.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that it's, it starts with budgeting and going off of what all of these guys said. But it's also a mindset game, right? Because if you're not, obviously the commitment starts, with you telling yourself, just like how ICE says it all the time, right? And if you're going to be committed to the gym, it's all about your self-talk, right? When you get up in the morning, like, do you want to turn off your alarm? Do you want to snooze it? Right? It's the same thing with budgeting, right? Cool. I got paid $500. Do I want to go on vacation this weekend, or should I put it away, right? Or should I pay off my bills first? So it's all about your mindset and your self-talk and how committed and disciplined you are. And I love that Ice had brought up the fitness portion, because you also need, your personal trainer is the one who also holds you accountable, right? Or if you have a workout partner, right? Same thing with finances, right? Especially if you're married. And even if you're not, right? If you have somebody that you can do this journey with, it helps to hold you accountable too. Like if you're going out to the movies and you have $50 for movie money and you can't afford the snacks because the movies are $50, I guess you're not going to eat the snacks at the movie. You need somebody there to tell you, hey, sorry, we can eat the snacks at the house because we don't have enough money. And, you're not going to try to pull from other accounts and stuff just to eat snacks, right? And so it's the power in being able to say no to yourself and figure out what's more important, because you want to have that 1,000-foot view and not the 5-foot view right in front of you, right? How is it going to help if I put this $50 away right now? How is it going to help 10 years from now, right? And having that outlook first, because like when Reka said in the beginning, dreaming again, what does that look like to you? Yes, you can still be in the now, still, YOLO, you only live once. Like, you can still enjoy all that stuff right now, but also planning for the future. You can have it all if you schedule it in, right? You can do it all as long as you have a plan to be able to get there. Okay. So I didn't know if anybody else had anything.
That brings me to the term that, like, this term came to mind when you were saying that, the instant gratification. And that's pretty much what the whole world, with any aspect of life, that's kind of what it is. That's why social media is such a big hit now, because it's 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 15 seconds, all super short, right? The short term gratification, right? So, yeah, that brings me to the next question. And anybody that wants to take it, go ahead. And it'll be the last question before the second part of this, if we have a little bit of time. But just super simple, just for those who are listening and watching, like, how can people actually best protect their savings against, like, inflation or this rapid growing economy and so forth? Like, how can they actually do it in, like, a simple way, for some kind of tips right now?
Yeah, I'll take that one. A lot of people don't know this, right? But you can actually protect your money from market drops in an insurance policy, and it's on track to beat inflation any day, right? Because a lot of people. But here's the thing: nobody knows about that because no one was educated on it. I mean, I didn't know about it until 3 years ago. 5 years ago, right? It's like, what? I thought you could only use life insurance when you're dead, right? But you can actually use life insurance for multiple things, right? Just to name a few, you can use, a lot of people generally, they think life insurance you can only use when you die, when someone dies, right? It'll pay out to the family. But you can actually use life insurance while you're alive, right? It comes with living benefits. If you get sick, critical, chronic, or terminal illness, instead of tapping into your savings, right? Because we don't want to use our savings, because that's the first place that people are going to use if they get let go from their job, right? Either they touch their savings first. If they don't have a savings, they're going to touch their retirement first. But what if there's a product out there that you could use someone else's money, which is the insurance money, to help pay for any of those illness if you were to catch any of those 3 illnesses, right? But then it also comes with protection from market drops if you put money in an insurance policy, right? There's an IRS code 72 ECHO talks about any money that's grown into a life insurance policy grows tax-free. If you guys know any product out there that grows tax-free, then feel free to reach out to me and tell me I'm wrong, right? Because there isn't, right? But then you got to talk about money where you can start pulling money out tax-free, because the number one wealth killer in the United States is what? Taxes, inflation, and medical bills, right? But it's just us knowing where to put our money, or knowing where to protect our money, is where we need to start learning ourselves, and not just taking these traditional financial advisors say, right? And I truly believe, yes, listen to them, but you also got to learn yourself, right? Don't just take what they're saying. Go do your research and see if what they're saying are true, so that you could protect your money. Because In our business, we like to take the educational approach so that we can empower you with financial literacy, right? Because we will want you to understand something before you get into something you don't understand, right? So I think it's just empowering yourself by reading books. To be honest, I've read so much books. Mind you, I'm someone, I don't like reading books, but I have learned so much in the business because I read books. And these are books that are not used in high school. Why? Because there's a hidden agenda when it comes to schools. They don't want to teach you the stuff that you need to know, because most of us, right, go to school to become a W-2 employee. Yep. Okay, so that's my take. Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question, brother.
No, it definitely does. If I'm going to give the floor to the rest of the three of you guys to either add on to that or give any other simple advice or tips to help those that are watching, listening, to help with their personal finances right now before we take like a 5-minute break and move on to the next segment.
Oh, absolutely. I'll add on to that. So how to best protect your money against or savings against inflation? Simple. You just got to make your money make money babies, right? So, for example, if you put your money into a bank, Starr, or if you put up your money into a savings account at a bank, right? If you look at the return that you get on your money each year, it's like less than 1%, if 1%. So you want to put your money where you'll get an annual yield or an annual return that can beat the rate of inflation. So one of the ways was through one of the plans that Damian was just talking about. But here's the thing. There's this thing when it comes to retirement, there's this thing called the three-legged stool of retirement. And the three legs were pensions, 401k or IRAs, or your retirement plan, and then Social Security. Well, that three-legged stool, two of them are like damn near gone. A lot of jobs right now don't offer pensions anymore, right? Because when jobs had pensions, I don't know what they were thinking back then, but they were like, hey, if you work for us for 30 years, we'll pay you for the rest of your life, right? And then fast forward came the 401k plan, where this dude was like, hey, your 401k can supplement your retirement on top of your pension, right? But then companies got smart and were like, we're not going to pay this person for the rest of their life, because what if they end up living toward like 100 years old, right? That makes zero business sense. But so what did they do? They cut off pensions, and they had you solely rely on the employee to save their money to retire. And so if you want to best protect your money against inflation, please have more than just one retirement option vehicle. Don't just have a lot of people I know only have their 401k. That's it. And that is a terrible idea. Terrible, terrible, terrible financial idea. That's like going to the gym and just doing the cardio every single day, the treadmill I meant, every single day. No, you want to mix it up. You want to lift some weights. You want to go in the sauna. You want to swim some laps. You gotta do it all. Okay.
Sorry, that just makes me think of the guys that do all upper body and have like these little chicken legs.
Yeah, right?
No
right?
lower workout.
No leg day whatsoever. And I know a lot of guys too that skip leg day because legs are hard, man. Yep. Legs are hard. But to tie that into the financial industry, dude, you gotta do more than just one thing. Use only one financial retirement vehicle. It boggles my mind when I hear people do, oh yeah, you ask them, hey, so what do you have for retirement? Just a 401k. Okay, do you know how a 401k works? No, I just put money in it and I just let it sit until I'm 65. Okay, do you know that your 401k gets taxed once you go to retire? Okay, have you heard of the 4% rule? 4% rule, Starr, let's say you saved $1 million in your 401k, you turn 65, you go to retire. You think they'll let you take out as much money as you want?
Nope.
No, they'll only, it's called the 4% rule. It's a rule of thumb that financial advisors use when you go to retire, where you can only take 4% of your money each year to live off of. So if you have $1 million in your 401k by the time you retire, 4% of $1 million is what? $40,000. You think you can live off $40,000 in retirement? Hell no. And that's before taxes. You get taxed. So you end up with 30,000 and some change.
Right.
Dude. So that, and that's why it goes back to, you were supposed to use that to supplement your pension, but jobs don't offer pensions no more. There are some that do. So take advantage of that if you can, but that's what we also have us who work with insurance carriers. You can use a 7702 plan, via cash value life insurance policy. You could go to a bank and use a high yield savings account that'll give you money, annual guaranteed yield on your money each year, each month. Dude, there's so many different vehicles that you can use to outpace inflation, protect your money from inflation. So, dude, I can go on and on, but I'll pass it back. Sorry.
I just love to see your passion on it. It's
legs.
That alone is pretty amazing.
Yes. I just wanted to add one simple thing, like what they've already said is, man, we could just end right now and that would be just like amazing. But I would say the main thing that you also want to realize is that you're either one of two people. Either you're a saver or you're a
spender.
That's right. And so, especially if you're in a relationship, you want to make sure that, okay, here's a dangerous thing: to be in a relationship and both are spenders. What is the future going to look like for their family? You have to have a balance, or even better, both can be savers. If you're not a natural saver, and you want to be able to have a talk and have a meeting, have that financial sit down, especially if you're planning for the future of, for your family, your future family. You want to realize that person sitting on the other end can be, and the number one reason for divorces is finances. That's why people are getting divorced so quickly, because of money problems, money issues. And so that's what I would say is a simple concept. Realizing, hey, I'm a spender. I need to get myself in order. Or, hey, I'm a saver. So the person that I'm going to find better also be a saver. Like, you want to be picky because it's the rest of your future that's on the line. So and that's the only thing that I would say, because Ice mentioned something super important, that it's 80-20, 80% behavior and 20% of the concepts and the things that you're learning, the education. So, that's probably what I would add.
Put me on a spot.
Yeah, you did.
Well, the problem is I'm not just a spender. I'm a emotional spender too.
Yes,
so
he is.
It's pretty bad, and I acknowledge it. But that's why me and my wife's gonna talk to one of you guys soon. So, go ahead, Savannah.
The only thing I would probably add is that, you would want to have multiple streams of income, right? I had already mentioned it, right? Once you exhaust that muscle, you've ran on the treadmill so many times, like what else are you going to do, right? Same thing here. If you're only living off of, and I want you guys to think about this, right? If you're only living off of your 401k and your 401k runs out, now what? Right? And there's so many people that we literally sit down with, and that's like how I said, it's like there's not, I want to say brainwashed, but it's like that's all they know because they weren't educated, right? That's all they know is that the 401k, like, this is my ticket, this is it, like, and don't even make me start with Ice and the boys can always kind of go into it, especially when it has to do with matches, right? When it has to do with like a 401k match, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of us out there who have it, which is great. Right. But at the end of the day, right, your 401k is a vehicle for retirement. So great on you if you have it, use the crap out of it, but also realize and educate yourself on what that 401k is. It is tied to the market. If the market crashes, bye-bye 401k. So now you have to restart your retirement plan, right? Look at all those people in 2008 when we had close to negative 40% in the market and the market crashed. There were thousands of millions of people who lost a lot of money. There was a lot of millionaires who lost everything who even committed suicide because that was all they had. So I get it. It might not seem like it. It's very, very similar to, why do we have car insurance? Why do we have car insurance, right? It's because of the what if factor, right? The what if factor. It's the same thing here, right? It's, you want to be able to have multiple streams of income, because what if the market drops? What's going to happen to your 401k, right? For the what if factor, if you have a high yield savings, that's great. It's a savings, right? You have that account, or if you have real estate, you own a house and you're collecting, like how one of the incomes that ICE was talking about. So you want to have all these different streams of income that you can live off of, so that if one runs out, hey, it's all good. I still have 5 other streams of income that will last me until forever, right? So that's all I wanted to add. Thank you so much for the question.
Yeah. No, that brings me to one of the other podcasts that you guys were on. I remember, I think it was Reka was talking about this. You were talking about, like, why do we have car insurance, phone insurance, this insurance, but we don't have life insurance? Like, you know, why is that not the first option or something like that along the lines? I remember. And it makes sense, you know, after what all you guys said, really. Yeah, man, I'm going to rethink my whole life, man. But no, it's, you know, it is eye-opening for me. You know, there's a lot of things that I've learned just in this one short session so far, you know, and I appreciate you guys coming on, you know, to talk about, you know, I guess I would say it's a touchy subject, you know, especially in the Islander culture, right? When we talk about money, it's a touchy subject, right? And then kind of transition us into our next segment, and hopefully we can. We have enough
we can
time.
get into after I shishi, please.
I know, yeah. So we're gonna take a quick little break, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll come back, and then we're gonna go into a little bit more deeper subject, you know, regarding our culture and finances at the same time. So, quick break. We'll be right back.
Bro, we can talk about a lot of things, bro. Like, we can talk about 401k one time. A lot of people don't understand how 401k works, right?
Right.
And it's crazy because a lot of people, I won't leave my job. They give me like a 15% match. You know, I have no idea.
There's so much layer. There's so many layers for 401k. It's crazy.
Like, oh, you want to brag about your 20% match, right? But you're gonna get taxed heavily on the front end. And that's just a write-off for the company to make back.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't lose shit. Like, excuse me. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Don't worry, we're not live. Or are we?
We're not live. I mean, I'm still recording, but I'm not going to put it in.
Snippet.
I'm not going to put it in, and it's the first thing that he puts on his thing. Yeah, there's so many layers. I mean, we've written out a list too about like different you know, what do you call it, episodes that if we were to do a series, you know, we have one, another one of our key players deals with debt and credit.
Yeah.
She's out of Hawaii too. So, you know, she has a lot of insight about that and how it helps people. And then there's budgeting, and there's life insurance in itself too. And that's a whole different subject too, about what's the proper life insurance to get. You know, what to look for when you're looking for life insurance and things like that too. So, and then of course,
that's something I know nothing about. Not gonna
lie. There's also college plans for kids. I don't know, you know, that's a different story too. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be a college plan, but having a glorified savings plan for them, that's a whole separate subject too.
Yeah.
So there's so many layers that when it comes to Kaleo's like, yep, that's me. I was like, so there's so many layers. And you know, that's part of our mission and our crusade is putting that information out there. But also, I mean, we might even go into it here. It's, you know, where do you go to seek that information? Right. And there's financial advisors, but Damian always covers this too. It's like, in order for you to even go sit down with a financial advisor, you have to pay. It's like going to see a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right. In order for you to get their advice, you still have to pay them hourly for their advice. Same thing with an advisor. And That's what separates us from advisors, and that's why we're professionals. We don't believe in losing money. And we also don't charge when it comes to going over your financial plan.
Honestly,
So.
that's, me and my wife talk about, getting a financial advisor how many times, but because there's always a fee, we never go through with it. Never do. And then, I try to, watch YouTube, do some research, and then do it myself. And then obviously it just doesn't work. But
well, let me tell you this, Star. There's fees and everything.
yeah,
There's fees. There's gonna be fees and everything. If you buy Netflix, your cell phone bill, they send you these monthly fees, administration fees. Like there's fees and everything. But it's funny to me because ever since I joined the finance industry, that's the number one thing I hear people, excuse my language, bitch and complain about is fees. And so that's why I always have to ask them, like, hey, do you have a cell phone? Do you have a car? Do you have this? Do you have that? There's fees in those too, dummy. But you don't care because you don't take the time to read through the, hey, you know those things where the terms and conditions where all you do is just click without reading. If you take time to actually read those things, they'll tell you.
It's all
Simple.
fees, yeah.
It's simple, but here's the thing. Because if I'm not gonna lie, like there's fees in what we distribute and what we promote, but the deeper we get into it, we can show you how those fees wouldn't even matter. You wouldn't even feel the effect of these fees because of the amount of interest and compound interest that you're gaining on your money. So like that, which brings it back, you gotta have your money, you're literally like your dollar bills. Make love, have money, babies, and continue that cycle. I know it sounds weird, but it's like you gotta make your money populate.
Yeah,
That's the best way I could put it. That's the way I could put it. And so instead of populating, people are leaving and migrating. They're leaving the wallet instead of making love in the wallet.
You're welcome. That was for you, Kaleo. That was for you, Kaleo.
That was for you, Kaleo.
Honey babies.
All right, cool. We're not live. We're not live though, so we're good.
I mean, that was a good nugget, so I might have to keep it in there.
I would totally keep it in there. That was just money.
Hey, that's I'm just saying that's one of my mentors. That's he told me that one time. I asked him, and he was like, because he's a millionaire, and I'm like, dude, how the heck did you do it? He's like, hey, you just got to have your money, make money, babies. That's it. And so I walked around the whole day saying, money, babies, money, babies, money, babies. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. My dollar, your dollar, make other dollars.
Yeah.
And repeat the cycle. Right?
It makes sense. It's super simple, if you really think about it.
Super simple, but we make it difficult.
We do.
Yeah. Right? We do. And so when I say we, I'm talking about us Polynesians, us Pacific Islanders,
Yes. Definitely, us Islanders, we're very stubborn. I'll be the first to admit that. We're very stubborn. We're very strict with traditions, with just in general, right? And then that, so I guess that brings us to, let's move into this segment, right? Talking about moving into our Pacific Islanders and finance. But right before we go into that, and Kaleo's going to ask that first question, if you guys, like what you guys are hearing, if you guys are, intrigued, if you guys do need help or whatever it is, I'm sure one of these beautiful people would love to help you. I will have their information, linked down below and on this YouTube video. Feel free to click on it and, reach out to them and then, ask them any questions you want. And, if you guys want to get on the boat, then get on the boat. If not, then at least you got some information that'll definitely be helpful for sure. So with that being said, Kaleo, take us away with this first question on this next segment.
So, as Pacific Islanders, what are some primary factors contributing to financial difficulties? Is it lack of knowledge or like the effects of our environment? Like what? Gimme.
I can go ahead. I think it's not lack of knowledge because we weren't taught this back home, right? And I think it's what was ingrained in us when we were growing up. We were only taught what our parents taught us, right? So whatever our parents learned from their parents, they taught that to us, and now we're taking that same generational knowledge and then we're passing it forward. But I'm glad that I was open minded about my own finances, and I was also open minded about learning other things. And because I was learning other things, made me realize that the only way to make changes is that we need to make changes ourselves, right? If we're always going to live by the old traditional way because of our culture and stuff like that, that means we're always going to implement what they were teaching us and not learn any new ways where there's better ways out there that you could do things, whether it's financial or whatever your goals are, right? Because we were taught to go get a career and get a fixed income because we were taught to have a fixed mindset, right? But in order for us to grow and have a growth income, we have to have a growth mindset, right? So we need to adapt into going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset to learn new things just to make things better, right? Especially for our community. Everyone's going to stick there because that's all they know, right? And what's the only job that we go? Either the NFL, right? Whoever makes it to the NFL, right? Powers to them. But what about everyone else? The military, the airport. What's another job? That Polynesian goes to. But anyways, those are probably the most popular, right? But have they ever thought about going seek, elsewhere to get a better job that pays higher there, right? So I think it's all in our knowledge. But if you're always going to ingrain what we were taught before, you're always going to stay there forever.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, right? With being around that environment, you want to be like that person, right? Especially if that's your family member. And us Islanders, not just Samoans but Hawaiians, everybody, we're very family oriented, right? We want to be like them or make them proud. So this is the way that I have to go, right? So, yeah, kind of pretty much answers that question, right? Like that, I think that plays a big part into why we have troubles because like what Ice was saying earlier, not making it the football route. Okay, now we're all in shambles. Like, oh shoot, what do I do? What do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's up to us to make that change, right?
Right.
Even when it comes to Kaleo, right? When they say, hey, that we need to contribute, let's provide what we can provide, right? But don't tell us what we need to provide. You know what I mean? And it's a different subject, but me personally, part of my growth was I learned to say no. Oh, Damian, your family needs to bring $5,000. Nope, I'm not going to break my back to provide, coupe or money to a family I don't even know.
Yeah.
Now I got to break my back to pay off that money back that I lend out, right? But because I said no, I don't need to. But hey, here's my $100 that I could afford for the my contribution or donation for that family. Right? I think the thoughts that count. But we need to make that change ourselves, and simply by saying no, or let's help that family out by saying, hey, let's learn from this lesson and let's go out there and protect your family by providing your own life insurance so that you never have to ask anybody for money.
Yeah. So we
I want to add on top of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say so real quick before we touch more on that specific subject. Does anybody else want to add on to that first question of what are some primary factors contributing to why we are in this position in the first place? Of having these struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. I as Pacific Islanders, I don't know. Okay, our grandparents and our parents and so our older generation Pacific Islanders, I think it's different because I think what the factors that contributed to their difficulties was, yes, lack of access to the education, the system, monies. Why do our generation, I don't think we have any excuse. We live in an era where you have everything on a cell phone, you have everything on a laptop. If you go to school, I mean, I know they don't teach you, concepts that are totally about money, but you go to school and you learn. So I don't think we have any excuse as our generation. I mean, unless you're in a situational, battle where you are like homeless or something, but even then, we have everything at our fingertips for us young Polynesians. I think another factor that contributes is we learn from our parents, then our parents learn from their parents, and you have to understand Polynesians are a huge minority of this country. So when they first came to the U.S., the majority were Palangis, or white folks. And what were white folks teaching their kids and their kids and their grandkids? They were teaching them these concepts that we're talking about right now. And so I think that's another reason why I think it's important for us to, share this knowledge, share this information with everyone, especially our Pacific Islanders, because, dude, our people, man, we deserve greatness, man. So that's just my answer.
I think this goes back to what we talked about before, Kaleo, with whatever subject it is that has to do with our Pacific Islanders, like what Damian was saying, go out, and whatever all you guys are saying, really go out and learn these new ways, learn these new things that'll benefit you personally, your family, and then bridge that gap with our older generations. Yeah. You know what I mean? So because we mentioned that a bunch of times, like, yeah, let's, bridge the gap, right? So, yeah, I'm open for it again. Go, Reka.
Yes. So the question about what are some of the things that are holding us back as Pacific Islanders, I think Damian just said it. I just want to elaborate on that. Is that we don't know how to say no. We're such giving people that we're willing to give our very last, and then we don't know what else. Like, I know it can be seen as a good thing, but they always have that announcement when you're on the airplane, like, before you try to put someone else's mask on, in case of an emergency, please make sure you put yours on first. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so in a financial concept, before you try to give everything away and help the person next to you, make sure you're set, because that's how you can help more people. Instead of just thinking about that one person, if I don't help that one person, how about think about, if I get me right, get me out the way, how many more people can I reach? How many more people can I impact? And so, and then going back to, there's something called your RAS in your brain. It's the reticular activating system. Let me just give you an example. Let's say one day you go out and, Kaleo decides to buy a Tesla. She's making some changes. Before then, she never saw white Teslas. She bought a white Tesla. Now she's seeing it everywhere. You start to notice it everywhere. The same thing is with our reticular activating system. If it's a goal of yours, if it is something you're passionate about, even if you're not in the right environment, but you're looking for it, you're going to find it. You're going to find it. So there's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. And so, like, if you as the student, you're like, I have grown up, I have not been in the right position to make the money that I want to make. I don't have the education. I don't have the background. I don't have the talent, but you're willing. You are willing to do whatever it takes to find it. It's going to come to you. And when that opportunity meets that person that has been ready and willing, that's the recipe for success. And so people that are willing to work hard will beat the people that have talent. One major thing that I just wanted to bring that I was listening to just before I came on this podcast was the savings rate by country. In the US, the savings rate is 2.4%. That doesn't seem like much, but let me compare it to what other countries are doing. In Europe, they save 20%. In Japan, they save 25% of their earnings. In China, they save 50%. That's just to give you an example of the culture and what they believe in and the environment. It's no wonder why China is booming. Yeah, they might not be perfect, but look at their habits, their trained habits that they have. That's the same type of habits that we should have. And maybe that's why the generation before us, like as we're going through, it's getting watered down. The message is getting watered down throughout the generations. And there's a saying, they don't make them like they do anymore. Like our grandparents, you know, the things that they went through, the sweat, the tears, the blood just to get us here. And yet some of us still don't even know the stories of what they had to overcome for us to be in the spaces that we occupy. So I think being able to understand your roots and remember the blood, sweat, and tears of what your forefathers had to experience just for you to be in a country like this and have the opportunities, you got to be built different. And even if you're not in that environment right now, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I want you to know that there is hope. You just have to be willing to look for it and then, reach out.
There's no bad, there's no bad feeling about asking for help, no matter what it is about. You know what I'm saying? Because like I always tell people, right, the worst thing you can get when you ask a question is the no. And then, okay, cool, move on to the next person that maybe they'll say yes. So what is that one saying? Was it the Michael Jordan saying? The Michael Jordan saying? Somebody you guys know? Or a basketball saying?
Let's do it.
Yes, that's a good one too. But you only miss the shots
you don't take.
Exactly. So I'm before we move on to going back to the example of the Samoan Fa'alavelave, I'm gonna give the floor to Savannah, give you opportunity to speak on that last question if you wanted to add, or if you wanted to continue to the example that Damian brought up earlier about the Fa'alavelave.
I'll just kind of speak to what everybody was actually kind of saying. So, and it kind of goes back to what Kaleo had briefly touched on before. We're all, specifically as Pacific Islanders, we're all honed in on what the American dream is, right? You go to school, right? You get a good education, you get your degree, you go to college, you get that degree, and then you go get a good job, right? How Damian honed in last time about the school system right now, the education system is set up for us to be W-2 employees, right? And so when it comes to talking about new concepts, right? It's not even new concepts, it's just old concepts that we are now learning. It's very new to us as Pacific Islanders. So when Damian talks about having a fixed mindset, it's because our older generation or our families and where we come from, our culture, we're so set on, hey, this is the American dream and we have to go to college or we have to join the military, we have to go to the NFL. Like, this is the only way that we're able to get out of where we're at right now in the island, right? This is the only way that you can contribute to our family, right? And yet, when we introduce these new concepts, it's not necessarily frowned upon, but it's more along the lines of like, you're speaking weird language. Like, please go over there and talk about your, insurance stuff over there. Like, don't, you know what I mean? Like, we already have our stuff set. Go talk about it over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very different. And so it's hard for us to be able to understand it in moving forward. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, we had this random meeting with a pastor down in SoCal, and we had talked about what it means to bridge the gap from our older generation to our younger generation who's coming up after us, right? And he said something so profound, which continued to stay with me, which was, we're talking so much about bridging the gap. We are the bridge, right? We are the bridge, and it's going to take us making these moves and staying on this crusade about teaching financial literacy, helping to funnel in, being intentional about our futures and our careers and our families, that we might not even see those big changes right now, right? It's that we're setting all those pillars and the foundation up for our generations to come. So that includes like our kids, right? Kaleo, your kids, right? We're setting up that foundation for them right now for what's to come, right? So we are the bridge generation, which kind of can suck for us because we're like, come on, man, like, you know, we're trying to make it, we're trying to do all these things, but we're setting it up because we are trying to bridge our traditions and cultures and customs from our parents and our grandparents and passing down that. But we're also trying to connect that with what's going on in the new age with the new generation and be able to continue to pass that on. So when we talk about, the last thing I'll say is when we talk about tradition and culture, like we're huge on passing down tradition and culture, right? Why can't that also bridge that portion of like the Palangi culture of bridging it with generational wealth and passing that on as well?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what they teach here in America, right? Generational wealth. When we talk about trust fund babies or things like that, right? It's because the grandparents or the great grandparents thought about their great grandkids who are yet to come. That's why we know so much about the Kardashians, right? It's because the dad set all that up for him, right? The Hiltons, right? The Vanderbilts. That's why we know about all these people, is because that older generation set up a generational flow to their kids, grandkids, great grandkids that they could not even foresee yet, but they were like, I want our name to live on forever. Well, why can't we combine that with what we already have, which is our culture, right? So, yes.
Wait, quick question. Kardashians, really? Was it from her dad? Oh.
I mean,
The concept is
you
there.
actually, I mean, other than there, I mean, the concept, right? Because if you actually look at what he did, is because of his insurance and he set that up. You know what I mean? Like it was just, I use them because I know, but
Someone's
I use them as a name.
Someone's keeping up.
Yeah.
There you go. See? There you go.
I'm gonna say this, like, you know, from what you just said, you know, of us being that bridge, right? Our generation now, and tying it back to what I said earlier, how like the times were different. You know what I mean? And not saying that, you know, all those examples that you just said, not saying that they had it easy, they just had the opportunity at that time. But us being the bridge now, this is our time and our opportunity to be able to bridge that, right, for the next ones. So, see what I did there? Connected from what you said earlier to now.
Oh, you're so good.
You're
So proud
good.
of you.
I've been practicing. Been practicing.
He just wanted to have the last say. It's fine.
No.
You got it. You got it, Starr.
No.
You're right, Starr. You're right.
Oh, stop putting me on a spot, bro. Come on. I do wanna touch up a little bit. You know, we are kind of a little bit over time, honestly, but I do want to touch a little bit, you know, on what Damian said earlier, brought up, because I even had it in the script. But the talk of the Samoa Falave, right? Like, so now, you know, how can we? And that's just one example. I know other cultures have their versions or their, you know, things, you know, traditions or, you know, practices that they have or whatever. But I feel like, you know, the Falave has a misrepresentation right now. You know what I mean? Like the meaning of it kind of went away, and now it's like kind of like a negative thing where the moment you hear the word, oh shoot, I gotta give money. Oh shoot, I gotta, you know, break my back, like Damian said earlier. No, it shouldn't be. You should hear the word and be like, okay, I'm able to help because I want to help, not because I have to, right? So, yeah, take it away.
So, not taking anything away from our culture, right? I'm going to respect and love our culture,
Right.
our traditions, right? But we can add something to it, right? And that when I say add, let's say, hey, there's programs in place to help with stuff like that, right? Instead of, you know, us coming together, bringing money together, like, hey, listen, this is what the Palangis are doing, protecting their family, right? Because imagine in our Falave, imagine turning away everyone that's donating their money and just say, hey, thank you. We appreciate your thoughts for donating, but I got mine. I protected my family. I don't need your money, but I'm sure you do, right? Imagine just turning them away because you decide as a man, I'm going to go protect mine and not ask anybody else to protect my family. You know what I'm saying? So traditionally, what if we were to just say, hey, let me go protect my entire family. And if something does happen, we already know that we just got to come together, show our love and support, but they have a life insurance policy that's already in place that will take care of all the financial burden that was left behind, and it will take care of all the funeral expenses, right? All we gotta do is just show our love and support. That was it. But that's all by adding something into that family's life, which is what? Coverage. That's it. I respect our culture. I respect, and I love our tradition. Nothing will change. We just gotta add something on top of that. But imagine, I want to bring out the 5 hours. Okay, so it's just one of those things, okay? Because it really hurt me, right? When it happened to my grandma. I only knew one 5 out. My grandfather said give him $200 in an envelope. I was like, all right, cool. I know this guy. I appreciate him coming and say the word of God and putting and burying my grandma. And then I saw 9 other 5 out showed up from the east side, right? I don't even know who these guys are, but I really wanted to ask them, hey, how do you know my grandmother? And if they didn't know, then I just got to tell them to leave, right? But my grandfather was like, hey, this is the Samoa way. Let's give him $100, put it in an envelope and give it to him. I was like, what? I don't even have $100 to give these guys. But you guys know what I did, guys? I put $100 in the envelope. I mean, $20, and I gave them the envelope. It didn't have to be $100, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? But to me, guys, if you're the 5 out and that's not your day, me as a 5 out, I would have returned that money back to the family that needed it. Most of them come to get the money, say their blessings, and then go home. I don't know if that was ever included in our culture tradition, but that's something all these 5 outs were doing. Right? I'll probably get canceled after this, but hey, my name is Damian Vaitautolu. You know who I am, right? Just say whatever. That's just how and look, and that's what I firmly believe in. You can ask these guys, and I stand on business when it comes to that. Right? I stand on business when it comes to that. If I see any, I'm not giving you nothing. You can leave. This is not your day.
He is absolutely 100% telling you the truth. Me, I'm in total alignment with Damian. Nothing against our culture. Nothing. I don't want to take anything away from our culture. I think what's important is adding substance and value to our cultural traditions, and life insurance is one of those valuable, things that you can add to our cultural traditions, because let me put it this way, the most efficient, because back what Reka said, oh man, our people are the most, the biggest givers. Well, if we're talking monetary, the best way to give money to someone is through some sort of life insurance. You're not, you know what I mean? And it's going to have an effect. And one thing that always comes to mind whenever I think about Falavelavas is someone just died, right? Imagine a father or a mother or whoever's the breadwinner passing away, and then their wife and children go to their funeral, and there's no coverage, no protection whatsoever for the family. And the wife is like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? Like, I have to go to work next week or in 2 weeks after my grievance is done, after my, and it's like, that to me is like, that is why I'm so passionate about life insurance, because we have things in place for people to mourn, to actually mourn properly. And one thing about life insurance is when you set it up correctly, for example, back to my example, if a husband died a breadwinner, right, and they had a home, a mortgage, a car, medical bills, life insurance can cover all of that so that the kids and the wife can, celebrate and enjoy that person's life, and instead of, just stressing, adding more stress on top of the death in the family or, of a loved one. And so, again, Falavelavas are cool. I just think that it transitioned from something that was actually like meant to mean something. And I think it transitioned to something monetary. And I think that's where everything just like divided people's thoughts and, about these Falavelavas. But again, love the culture. I love what our culture does. I love our traditions. But yeah, I think we could definitely add more value to our traditions to, again, bridge that gap and be that bridge. So
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense to, put yourself in a better situation for you and your own. That way we don't get to this point of where the Falavalava is all negative things now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like both sides, right? Now, if that family, like you said, was able to do all these things to better it, right? And Damien, you said like, thank you for bringing in a donation, but we don't need it. Then it really dismisses this whole thing that we're all dealing with right now with this whole Falavala thing or whatever, right? But yeah, we have a few more minutes. If Reka and Vanna want to add more, or if not, we can start closing it, and I'll give you guys the floor one more time to, I guess promote your guys' self, promote global financial impact. One last time for those who are listening, and all that stuff. So go ahead.
Okay, Vanna, you want to go first, and then I'll finish.
Sure. The only thing I was going to add on is, because the boys already said it all. One of my sisters posted this earlier, Jean. She said, if paying the premium is difficult, imagine paying for an entire funeral without life insurance. Right? So again, it goes back to the what ifs, right? Of it's mandatory for you to pay for car insurance for the what ifs, right? If you get into an accident, if you hit a car or whatever, somebody hits you, right? I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing to pay for, but it's mandatory for you to pay for that. Imagine being able to do the same thing for a life insurance. But the difference is, if anything happens to you, your family will be set, right? Especially if it's set up properly. And if you're married, might not be something that everybody wants to hear, but if you're married and you have kids and you have a house and you have assets, right? If you don't have a plan, no offense, but shame on you, right? Because you have kids, right? If you have a kid, or if you're married, like, you have somebody who loves you, that if anything did happen to you and you leave that person behind, what are they going to do? Right? I did have a family member pass away a couple of weeks ago, right? And he was the breadwinner. He's been the breadwinner for the past 20 years. What are his wife and kids going to do? His kids are adults now, so they're going to have to work. But his wife has been the homeowner, like he's been the housewife for the past 20 years. What is she going to do? He did have a plan in place, right? He had a couple of plans in place actually for them. And I praise the Lord that he did. He actually did talk to me about them before anything happened to him, and he suddenly passed away. So in being able to understand that and having a plan in place, yeah, sure. Is $20 or $30 a month coming out of your pocket because you're paying for this thing over here that's supposed to take care of you if anything happens to you? Absolutely. You're already paying $20 for Netflix. It went up, right? It went up to, if you have more than 2 subscribers on your Netflix, it went to $20, right? You're already paying for Disney Plus if you have kids. So, and that's like $15 because they added on Hulu. You know what I mean? So Reka always says it, and I want her to share because I can't remember what the verbiage is about value. But You won't understand how much it means to your family until something happens to you. But don't let a significant event happen to you in order for you to appreciate us being able to have that conversation with you. And then you're like, oh, crap. Because us as financial professionals, to be honest, we feel like crap if anything did. Literally, we've had clients that happened to them, and we talked to them. We had talked to them a couple weeks or a year before that about, hey, making sure your family's covered. Hey, make sure you have a financial plan. And they're like, yeah, we do. We're good. And then something's happened to them, and they were too prideful to tell us that they did need a plan. And then their family had nothing, right? So ensuring that you guys have a plan, right? It doesn't even have to be with us, for crying out loud. Like, going to talk to somebody about what that financial plan looks like, look at all your options, right? Be open-minded about the different options that are out there for you. Because your biggest love letter to your family, to tell them that you love them, is leaving them something behind in case something happens to you. Okay? And I'll pass it on to Reka.
Nice. So the biggest thing about what we're like our crusade, it's being able to leverage in situations where we do falavelavas. Most people are leveraging other family members. We ask the question, which would you rather? Would you rather our company write the check, or would you rather you write that check when it comes to the funeral? You know, and people come with flowers, people come with gifts. But the thing that we, as, people that, when it comes to our clients, is that we're passionate because we get to be the ones to say, don't worry about anything. Your loved one took care of it. They thought of you, and they knew that they needed to have something in place just in case. And so I think that's a huge deal when it comes to leveraging other people, like the company, the insurance carrier, like leverage them. Another thing is that, okay, maybe you do have insurance. When's the last time you checked on it? Some insurances are done after 30 years because they're term, which means it's temporary. So some people don't even understand the coverage. A lot of people, I don't remember the exact number, but there's a lot of policies that go unpaid because, let's say, a family member put something in place, but they didn't tell their beneficiaries, hey, you're my beneficiary. They just did the beneficiary and didn't tell them. One of the things that we do is that we sit down and we say, okay, these are your beneficiaries. We also want to let the beneficiary know because they play a special role if something ever happens to you. And so what we're finding is that a lot of people are underinsured. For example, let's say that you get insurance and then find out that you have a chronic or terminal illness, but you only have insurance for if you pass away. Now they actually offer something if you have to have long-term care, which is one of the number one reasons why Americans are bankrupt, because of medical bills. They can't afford to keep up with bills for if they're on dialysis, or they, the health insurance, the coverage that they have only covers so much, and people are starting to live longer, and they're finding that they're having to dip into their retirement savings because they didn't have a plan in place. They didn't know that there was such thing as a living benefit that can come with your life insurance. So, I mean, those are just some of the things, but what Vanna is talking about is that the value of an object is dependent upon the person that's willing to pay the price. So the value of what you set up for your family is going to be dependent on whether or not you decide to pay that price. Either you pay the price now, or your family's going to pay the price later. So that's up to you.
And that price now is a lot smaller than that price they'll pay later.
100%.
Right. What'd you say, $20? Man, you know what I mean? Well, we are, at the end of the episode. Damian's been glitching out for the past 20 minutes. So
Pretty sure longer than that, but that's okay.
Hi guys, I've been here.
Yeah, your camera's been lacking.
Good thing you didn't make any weird faces. But yeah, so we're at the end of the podcast. Usually at the end, right now, me and Kaleo would like to say our little closing statements. Our little, nugget that we like to give to everybody. Our little quote. So I know you guys have your guys' quotes. So if one by one you guys want to say your quote, and then me and Kaleo will end it off with our quote, and then we will end this show. So Damian, just you start so you can just say yours and get it over with because you're glitching.
Well, can you guys hear me though?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
hear
we can
you.
hear you.
Okay. Well, no, I appreciate you guys for having us. First off, and this was great. I think this was a genuine conversation with, especially for our Polynesian community, and But I appreciate you guys for having us on. But my favorite quote is, "Life is not expensive. We just don't make enough, right? We just got to go out there and make more money, right?" So, I'm not gonna say the other one. Reka might say it, but I'm gonna let everyone else go. But yeah, thanks, guys. That's my favorite quote. Thanks.
I can go next.
Yeah.
Okay. No, appreciate you guys again for letting us come on and talk about what we do. Damien's little glitch out is freaking me out right now, but it's okay.
It really is.
So it really is because he's like lagging. It's okay. But my quote that I pulled up, one of my favorite ones is, "You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic."
Mm.
So you can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. Ooh, I almost bobbed out there for a second.
That is a good one.
That was a great one.
That is a good one.
Yep.
We'll go to Ice next.
All right. Again, I appreciate you too for allowing us space on your guys' podcast. Very appreciative. My favorite quote. I have two. One. When you chase your dreams, go 1,000% because you can always quit. So why quit now? I don't know who said that quote, but it stuck with me. And then also a quote by Warren Buffett: "If you don't find a way to make money in your sleep, you'll be working for the rest of your life."
I do like that one. I heard that one many times.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen. Okay, Reka, your turn.
Okay. I don't know if this is actually a quote, but I heard it during a training session that we had a couple weeks ago, and it goes like this: 10% of people focus on their goals, 90% of people focus on their circumstance. So if you're on this call and maybe you're listening in and you're just like, what's the difference between me and the person that's successful? Try thinking about what you're focusing on. Like, am I thinking all day long about all the things that didn't work out for me? Or am I thinking about the opportunities that can and will come? And that's the difference between people that are winning and losing. They don't let their circumstances stop them from being the person that they're meant to be. So I think if you're on this call, I pray that you even just heard one thing that you needed. If you heard more, great. But outside of that, like, that's the purpose of why we're on here. Then our mission is one step closer to helping someone on this call. So we couldn't have done it without Starr and Kaleo, because the people that they know that come and listen, that's the impact that we're trying to make. And we're starting with our people. It doesn't make sense for us to help complete strangers and not start with our own people. So in case you guys, like, people listening are like, why do they keep talking about Polynesians? Like, that's not what we're not just trying to help our people. We're starting with our people, and then we want to expand this impact. We want to make it global. That's why we're on Global. The company that we're with is called Global Financial Impact. So.
Love it. Yeah, Kaleo, take it away with yours.
Remember to be uniquely you. It's the best thing that you could ever do. You are worthy of happiness, love, and peace. There's somebody you love, make sure that you tell them life is too short.
Yes. And before I close it out with my little quote that has nothing to do with finances, please again, like what they all said, if you guys heard something that you guys is really helpful, please reach out to one of these beautiful people here. Even reach out to me. You know, I learned some stuff too, so I can pass that on. But yeah, there. Don't give me that look. I know a little bit now, a little bit more now. Not saying I know everything, but I know a little bit more now. But yeah, their information will be down below. Just click the link and feel free to contact them. But with me, I will close it off with this. I always like to tell people is, to treat others the way that you want to be treated. The golden rule. Though if more people in the world can do that, then this world could be a totally better place. But yeah, this podcast is brought to you by Pacific Ave Company. Go ahead and check out our website. Appreciate you guys joining us. It was a great podcast. Looking forward to doing this again and again later, because there's a lot of things that we can talk about finances, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners and watchers that we do have, the millions, would like to learn more about this. So without further ado, we are out.